I tell her, baby, 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 I'm a fireball.
The history of business translation in Indonesian is the practice of translating business document and communication, including trade contracts, financial statement, business license, and other involving foreign language. This history of translation shows how translation has become one of the important role in the development of the economic and communication between countries in Indonesia. This process occurs because Indonesia is a country with a long history of international trade. So many business documents from ancient time were made in the form of foreign language. So it is very necessary for the role of translator to understand the change in the economy and foreign relation of Indonesia.
Phase 1. Linguistic phase. Until 1950 in business. This phase looks at business translation practice in Indonesia during the colonial period, specifically when the Dutch ruled. Before 1950, Indonesia was known as the Dutch East Indies. During this time, business was mainly controlled by the Dutch, and they often used their own language, Dutch, for official documents and communications. Focus on colonial era business translation. In this era, most important business activities involve the Dutch colonial government, Dutch trading companies, and local Indonesian businesses or individuals. This means there was a big need to translate between Dutch and various Indonesian languages. Debate, literal versus meaning in business documents. One of the main challenges during this time was how to translate. Should translators stick strictly to the literal meaning of words, or should they focus on conveying the intended meaning or spirit of the document? There are two types of translation. The first one are literal translation, means translating word for word. While sometimes helpful, this approach could sometimes lead to awkward or unclear phrases in Indonesian because languages have different structures and ways of expressing things. The second one are meaning-based translation. Focuses on making sure the message is understood clearly and accurately in the target language, even if it means changing the word order or using different vocabulary. This was especially important for legal and business documents, where misunderstandings could lead to serious problems or disputes. The Corpus Diplomaticum is a huge collection or list of all the official agreements that the VOC, the Dutch trading company, and the Dutch East Indies government made with different kingdoms and rulers in Nusantara between the years 1595 and 1799. This list includes many different types of agreements. Some were detailed trade deals, others were agreements to hand over land to the Dutch, or agreements about how the Dutch company would deal politically with local rulers. And, of course, all these agreements needed communication and, most importantly, translation.
The communicative phase in 1950 business context marked the increased use of English due to the rise of many foreign companies entering the market. This period highlighted the importance of tailoring business messages to different audiences, such as financial report and company profiles, to ensure clarity and effectiveness in communication. And the key points about the communicative phase in 1950 in business is the entry of foreigners company that brought English as a dominant language in business communication, and the business itself began to recognize the need to adapt their messages for diverse audience such as investor, clients, and partners. And the communication materials like annual report and bilingual company profiles became common to reach the local and international stakeholder. The visual communication, including bilingual annual reports and company profiles, help companies present their financial and operation information clearly and professionally. A company report, especially an annual report, is a comprehensive document that provides detailed information about the company's financial performance, operation, and strategic direction over the past year. It typically includes the first is financial statement like the balance sheet, income sheet, and cash flow. And the second is management discussion and analysis. And the third is corporate governance details. The fourth is business overview and market condition. And the last is future outlook and strategy. In the 1950, companies started producing bilingual reports in English and local language to cater the international investor and partners. This is reflecting the growing globalization in business. This approach ensured that the company's message was accessible and understandable to wider audience, facilitating better business relationship and trust. For example, is the Rockefeller Foundation annual report in 1950 is a detailed document that showcasing the style and content of corporate reports from the era. It includes comprehensive sections for a letter transmission, forward the president report from the various divisions like international health, medical science, natural science, social science, and humanities. The detailed financial statement and numerous illustrations that related to the foundation project and activities. The report reflects the formal structure approach typically in 1950 with a clear segmentation of content and focus in transparency about appropriation and project. It also features black and white photographs and diagram illustrating scientific research and fieldwork.
Phase 3 Functionalist Phase 1970s in Business Transition. The functionalist phase emerged in the 1970s as a new paradigm in translation studies, especially in Germany, emphasizing that translation is not just about linguistic equivalence, but more about the function and purpose of translation in the target social and cultural context. Next, let's take a deeper look into what the functionalist phase actually entails. What is the functionalist phase? In this phase, translation is seen as a purposeful communicative activity where the result must fulfill a specific function according to the needs of the user or client. Scopus theory, developed by Hans J. Vermeer, is the main foundation of the functionalist approach. Scopus means the purpose or function of the translated text, which determines the translation strategy and method used. Translation is no longer just about word-for-word equivalence, but about how the translated text can function effectively in the business and cultural context of the target audience. With this understanding, we can now explore how this phase is applied in the business world. Application in business. In the business context, this phase is crucial because translated documents must fulfill specific practical function, including marketing. Translated advertisement must attract and persuade consumer in the target language and culture. Therefore, adaptation and domestication techniques are often used to make advertising message effective and persuasive. Legal. Documents such as business agreements and export-import documents must be translated accurately and with the correct legal terminology to be valid and avoid legal risks. Technical. Technical documents must be delivered clearly and precisely so that technical information can be understood and applied correctly in business process. Next, it's important to understand why this phase is so critical in everyday business practice. Importance of the functionalist phase. This phase ensures that translations meet business communication goals effectively and efficiently. It helps avoid errors that could cause financial and legal loss. It helps companies communicate cross-culturally in a precise and professional manner. Example of business documents. Business advertisement adapted for local markets. Export-import documents containing international and local trade regulation. Business agreements outlining the legal rights and obligations of the parties involved.
Ethical and aesthetic phase 1980 present focus, accuracy, bias, and cultural sensitivity in business translation. In the ethical and aesthetic phase, starting from the 1980 until now, business translation is not just about language. It also involves ethics and aesthetic, covering message accuracy, avoiding bias, and respecting local culture. This is important to get business communication professional and avoid offending a global audience. Modern challenges in business translation. The first technologies such as Google Translate and Translation Management System. Technologies like Google Translate and Translation Management System make business translation faster and more efficient. However, they have major limitations. These machines often fail to capture deep cultural meaning. As a result, the message might sound strange or even offend the audience. The second, local and global business need. Companies today must produce translations that connect well with our local market but also remain competitive globally. This means the translation has to be culturally relevant for local audience while still professional and appealing to international market. Example of ethical and aesthetic issues 1980 present. The first AI translation example, image of Google Translate and Translation Management System interface example screenshot. The second, coach on business ethic. Without ethic, business is not sustainable from MCK 2024. The last, cultural diversity in business. Picture showing an international business meeting with diverse cultures.